Now, to complete any kind of cream products you have, I highly recommend you set everything with a powder, either a loose powder or a compact, pressed powder or anything like that. Tools for setting makeup. You could use a tapered blush like this. I like this because it sets under the eyes nicely. Or I highly recommend everyone going out and getting a Forever Puff. You can bleach this thing, you can wash it and reuse it a million times instead of using the puffs that come in little jars and things like that, because these are cute and they're good for travel or if you're on the go and you don't want to pack this big old thing. But they get dirty and unsanitary so much easier. So yeah. And then another thing to think about is all the things we've done already. You want to consider the SPF. Am I going to an event? And if you are and you're getting photographed with flash photography, you want to keep everything under SPF 20. So be mindful of that. It usually says on the product like SPF whatever. So generally 15 is better, but anything under 20 is, depending on the level of flash and if you're in like a pitch dark room and how much the flash is going to have to compensate for the light, will determine, and you might get some of that white cast if you don't follow that rule. But the same thing applies with your setting powders or your concealer or your highlight. You want to make sure that you're checking the SPF on everything. And if you're going to be outdoors all day and you're not going to use a flash, then that's irrelevant and you should definitely use SPF. But to set the creams so we avoid creasing, I'm just going to pop out some of this pressed powder, go in with my tapered or any kind of fluffy brush you have. You can use the Real Techniques contour brush if you want to. And you want to just lightly press. You don't want to, press it and sweep it, like, otherwise you'll move all the product that we just spent so much time and energy setting. I usually do this a lot quicker after I do my cream products, but I've been yapping and trying to explain things. Another rule to remember with cream, once you cream with a powder, you're done with cream products. You can't go back over, even if you forgot the highlighter, or if you forgot your under eyes. Once you apply a powder to it, it will end up looking cakey over time. So avoid that if possible. That's another reason why I don't generally prefer cream blushes, because I usually have already set my face and do my blush kind of later. I kind of give a nice coating to my eyelid and set that so I don't get any creasing there. Since I have dry skin, I don't generally go in with a ton of powder. I usually keep it pretty contained, but you want to do your crease lines or expression lines around your nose to set that hormonal T-zone area. And I'm using a very light touch with this so that I don't move around any of the products that we've got. But I'm not going to go over the contour too much. And you want to set the chin. This is especially important if you touch your face a lot like me, which I'm totally guilty of. And if you have some areas or spots that you want, kind of blend this in up here, kind of fade out that contour up in the hairline. And then the jawline, not underneath where we contoured, but right here. So help give more defined structure to your face. So again, you want to kind of highlight or set the powder here, contour, and then continue to set the powder or the highlight along this line. And that is how you set the face. With a loose powder, you can do the same thing with the pressed powder. If you do use a pressed powder, if you have oilier skin, or if you've got a lot of stuff going on and you're going to be moving around a lot and you want to just set your face really good, or if it's raining or whatnot, you can go in with like a big fluffy brush. But first I would take the Forever Puff and get some powder on your Forever Puff. Again, this is for oilier skin, or if you have somewhere to go. And then with the Forever Puff, you want to put some on the tip, rub it together to get it really ingrained in that puff, and then you want to press and roll. And this option will kind of fade our cream contour, but that's okay. If you've overdone the contour and you want to correct it, this is a great way to do that. So I kind of sweep it all around to make sure it's evenly dispersed, and then press and roll. And this will help fill in any fine lines and wrinkles too. And then I use it and take it down the neckline to blend it in with the contour and make sure that our neck is not a weird shade. I love the size of this though, because you can just really get into all your hairlines and blend that out nicely. Again, with the powder I would avoid too much on the eyebrows. Some is okay, but I wouldn't be like wiping them on purpose. So here's what we've got going on so far. This is just my full face tutorial of makeup. And then with powder, people usually do it wrong, and I did that for a long time. I used to go in with a brush like this, or a big fluffy brush, and kind of sweep the powder all over my face. It's not technically how you're supposed to do it. I would go in with your foundation, concealer, highlight, cream contour, anything cream, set it with either a flatter brush like this that's really contained that you press in, or your Forever Puff, or a puff like that that you can press it on. And if it gets too cakey or buildup, that's what these brushes are actually intended for. These are to sweep off the excess powder, not to put on powder. So after you finish pressing some in, you want to kind of take it in buffing motions, and this will help sweep off some of the excess powder that we have. Something I learned in the last year that I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense now. So you can do it with a brush and just sweep it on, but this is the original intended use. And I'm going very, very light-handed with this so I don't mess up too much of what we have. And that'll give me more of a natural finish, or your skin but better look, rather than cake face, which nobody wants.